Number 16, hold the government accountable while introducing the IBAC. It's got to happen. Whether it's retrospective or not, I don't know. In this election, as a candidate, I've seen the systemic things in there that just hold somebody back, whereas the government can sneak in things at will. I'll give you an example. I went to go and put public ads in to go and say this is what I'm doing, I want to run for the election. I can't get space in a paper because they've all been bought by the government. So the government knew an election was coming up and they contacted all the papers and said, I want to hold everything on half a page for the first 20 pages in. So there's ads in there now saying the government's doing wonderful things here, and there's ads in there saying the government's doing wonderful things there, but you can't see anything from anybody unless it's a current government person, a Liberal National. All the rest is the way down the back. So that's how they structure this, to cheat people. The next point is, I'm running, so I have to comply with the polling requirements. As an example, I cannot offer tea and coffee at a stall because that's considered to be an inducement. As a candidate, you might be trying to bribe somebody to make them vote for you. You can't do that. Now, that's me paying for tea and coffee, and it's just a tea and coffee, and would that tea and coffee be something that changes your mind? Right? I don't think it would. In comparison, we've got the government coming out there and the opposition matching it and coming up with its own, pork barrelling. Millions and millions of dollars of debt. It's not money we have, and it's going for silly things that the government's not traditionally responsible for. I mean, where is the government's role to go and say, we need a shed over this sports ground? That's not its role. So both of them are at fault here, and both of them should be caned for it. So let's get an IBAC in and let's go through it in great detail and do those comparisons from the lowest level. Another one for me is that I'm somebody who, because of my health background and my health initiatives, would have done well, I believe, from all those hundreds of thousands of people that are in residential aged care and the likes. So I have everything together to go in there with the election people and help those people make their choices of choosing me on below the line, the white paper, choose me first, and 11 other places. But lo and behold, just a couple of days ago, the Electoral Commission tells me, no, you can't do it anymore. Those people that are in nursing homes are not going to have people come through helping them to vote. And if they want to vote now, they're going to have to register for a postal vote. Now, the practicality is the postal vote application will not get back in time for those people to vote. So if they are on the roll and they can make it to a polling booth, and they're not ambulatory, they could go and do something. Now, if they were doing something in the nursing home and they're having trouble understanding it and putting own names and numbers in boxes, who would they ask? They'd ask the nurse attending them. Now, you know the nurse's position on this because the nurses people are the ones that have been pushing for this 24/7 elderly registered nursing. So they're going to try and, unintentionally I'm sure, direct people to, if you want to have the best care, you really need to go and vote for the Labor Party. So I think there's a systemic issue here too, because although the people that are controlling the Australian Electoral Commission say, oh look, it was obvious from the start that you weren't going to be able to get in there because of COVID restrictions. 2 weeks ago, the Victorian government lifted those COVID restrictions. People can go in there if they wear a mask and are one of the 5 visitors for each resident, and maintain distances and hand hygiene and the likes. So really, there's been a systemic failure here that's preventing people like me getting in there and helping people look at me as a viable choice to others. And that has disadvantaged me, and I think there's potential, if I don't get in, to raise that issue. Also, if I do get in, there's potential for me to go and turn around and I'll put up a private members bill that looks at holding the government accountable. And that's the federal government, but I'm also going to go down lower because I've got examples from people about the corruption right down to local government and property development, where you've got people that are mayor who are also real estate agents who are also working for the main person who's going around, and I'll say it under parliamentary privilege, the examples of the terrible, terrible things they're doing to poor little old people in country towns, saying, I think your house is worth this, I'll help you get in your aged care because your husband's just died, and here's some money, when they know that the price they're giving that poor old lady is only 1/3 of the true value. And then they carve it up and make money hand over fist while she goes off with nothing.